Happy May Day, happy Beltane, happy Hangover Day from Walpurgis Night. Did you have greasy food and cheap liquor last night, like you're supposed to? Anyway, I hope you are enjoying this cross quarters time of the year. And yes, I'm back bundled up. I just got back from my morning walk to the coffee shop, and it's very chilly again. And there is even forecast of rain and snow in our general vicinity. I doubt whether we're going to get much of the snow part here in Sacramento proper. But anyway, I had to bundle up this morning, so I put on my best bundling up costume and decided to leave it on for today. I've been doing kind of an assortment of stuff that is requiring me to sort of brush up on things that I've done over the last 30 years. And when you get to be my age, there's a tendency, and perhaps a bad tendency, to look back and to try to put things in the past in perspective, rather than being more healthy and looking forward to see what's going on in the future. But when you're 74 years old, let's face it, you've got a longer past in this physical meat body here than you have a future. So it's understandable. There's a couple things. I'm providing, I'm being privileged to provide material for various Masonic publications around the country. And that's caused me to sort of dig around at old things. Now, I was chaplain of my lodge on two separate occasions. Two separate Masonic years in the past at Long Beach Lodge 327, and it was my great privilege to be able to write my own prayers. For now, there's monitorial prayers that are written into the ritual, but there are also prayers, seasonal prayers, stated meeting prayers that open and close the lodge and things like that. That if you are able to volunteer to write your own, you can write your own. And so I took that advantage. And let's see. I ran across this one. I won't take up much of your time with this, but I thought this was kind of cute. Now, Masonry is very conservative fraternity, not so much that everybody is politically conservative, but it's the oldest continually operating fraternity in the they say in the world, but it's a big tent, or it's meant to be a big tent with all sorts of a wide spectrum of philosophical, religious, and political point of views. Masonry provides something that kind of transcends all that stuff, and you behave in a civilized manner as one human being to another, which is just an absolutely wonderful thing. But at least in the United States, at least on the surface, uh, a majority of the members sort of are conservative, modest, kind of normally religious people. In the United States, that means mostly uh, conservative or moderate Protestant Christian. Okay, but that doesn't mean that everybody is a moderate Protestant Christian. And I felt empowered to remind them as often as I could, and in my capacity as chaplain and my position as a kind of a hermetic clergy in other parts of my life, I felt free to exercise that as much as I could. And I pushed the envelope, and everybody seemed happy. Here's sort of an example, just of Lon toning it down, but still. This is my prayer for a March meeting, okay, around the winter solstice. Great architect of the universe, at this time of year our ancient brethren assembled before dawn to celebrate the end of winter and to rejoice at the yearly triumph of the sun. This morning, when the sun broke through the clouds for the first time in many days, we all experienced, if only for a moment, the sweet echo of that primitive happiness. Something deep inside each one of us remembered the primeval joy of welcoming the sun back into our lives. Supreme Grand Master, we pray that you will help us to always remember that as the sun sustains all life on earth, you are the source and sustenance of the entire universe, and that, like the sun, you are always present in the heavens, even when we cannot see you. May we, as Masons, reflect your radiant nature upon all who daily revolve around us, upon all in our world who would look to us for the warm light of brotherly love, relief, and truth. Amen. Okay. You may be seated. Okay. Open your eyes. You may be seated. What I ran across is something that I never discussed in the over 2 years, almost 3 years I've been doing these morning things. And that's my tenure, if you will, at Maybe Logic Academy. Robert Anton Wilson's Maybe Logic Academy. Now, I met Bob Wilson many years ago, in 1980, 80 something. And we'd stayed in touch, and I helped with we shared publishers, and I did editorial work, such as it was, for a couple of his books, and he was kind enough to write an introduction to a couple of mine, or those that I did with Christopher Hyatt. And over the years, I've told the story that we were roommates year after year at PantheaCon, and that we gave him, our lodge gave him the third annual Illuminati Award and things like that. But the Maybe Logic Academy was an online, sort of at the time, a cutting edge sort of online university named after an Illuminatus trilogy, yes, concept, maybe logic, but that's a story in itself. Anyway, I was asked to teach a course in magic and tarot and Enochian magic, and quite a few different series, and they were like 8 weeks, and it's a lot of material. And I ran across a stack of the written material that I did for those class series, but I just wanted to share one of them. Just not the whole series, for God's Christ's sake, but just sort of the introduction to give you an idea what it was sort of like. And it was on Enochian magic. This was the textbook, and I treated it as a textbook with lesson plans and things like that, which are all implied in the book, but it was a luxury to treat it as a textbook, as you would in a class with students all over the world, all interacting in class forums and chat rooms and things like that to support things. This is just week 1 of Enochian vision magic. Title: Welcome to the class. Introduction and overview. Welcome to this 8-part excursion through the world of Enochian vision magic. This is the second time I've offered this particular course. I did all of them several times. I can't believe this is such a big part of my life for so many years, and I've just, anyway. This is the second time I've offered this particular course for Maybe Logic Academy, and I'm really looking forward to it. If this is your first MLA class with me, let me welcome you to what I hope will be for you a truly magical experience. For those who are graduates of my other MLA classes, please know how very gratified I am to see so many of you back for Enochian vision magic, and hope you'll find this experience rewarding. Something I failed to do in the past is begin the first class with a few words that might be helpful to anyone wandering the MLA campus on their first day of the school. And then I talk about the text. Of course, the course text is my book, Enochian Vision Magic, referred to henceforth as EVM, published by Wiser Books. If you don't already own a copy, etc., etc., etc. And then I talk about the class forums. This is the interactive part. And then I talk about the live chat sessions and how we connect with that. And I talked briefly about Maybe Logic Academy startup glitches and hiccups, which they always ironed out just really fast. It really did run pretty smoothly. But this is how I start the lecture. Teach me, O Creator of all things, to have correct knowledge and understanding, for your wisdom is all I desire. Speak your word in my ear, O Creator of all things, and set your wisdom in my heart. This is the 3rd course I've taught at Maybe Logic Academy and the 7th class series. Past experience has taught me that just like in a brick-and-mortar college or university, the first class is a confused jumble of latecomers, missing books, and lost schedules. I'd wager at least half of the students of this course who will be comfortably seated here in class 3 weeks from now aren't even here yet. So, My first lecture will be a little more casual than the rest and is geared primarily for the benefit of you eager and intrepid magicians who like to be here when things start. And so, for a reward, I'll give you a few special class assignments that just might give you a bit of a magical head start on your fellows. But first, know that our textbook, Enochian Vision Magic, was the result of 30 years of practical experience with the Enochian magic system and was built upon the labor and genius of an assembly of esoteric scholars and magicians whose career spans many generations. I believe it represents a rather good, albeit brief, overview of the circumstances surrounding the reception of the magical systems by Dr. John Dee and his partner Edward Talbert, or Kelly, in the late 1500s. Furthermore, the book was intended to demonstrate how magicians of the 21st century might benefit by the attunement process, similar to that Dee and Kelly were obliged to undergo in the years and months prior to their reception of what we now call the Enochian system. For indeed, the system most of us think of when we hear the term Enochian magic, the system practiced by the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley, was received in just the final 90 days of Dee and Kelly's nearly 3-year angelic contacts. In my mind, the most valuable magical instruction in Enochian vision magic offers to the reader concerns the application of that preparation procedure prior to the magicians engaging in the visionary magical workings proper. So Dee and Kelly were all tuned up to receive it. And I think we should be all tuned up to receive it too in a manner similar to that. Okay. Be that as it may, Enochian vision magic, done without preparation procedure, works pretty damn well right out of the Golden Dawn Crowley box. As a matter of fact, even before we get ourselves attuned, I'd like us to try something over the next 7 days. Hopefully, you can use the record of this week's experiences and compare it with those you will experience later in the class. For now, the exercise below will have you jumping right into the Enochian magic pool. Don't be afraid, the water's fine. Next week, we'll start building our Enochian magic temple, first on paper, wax, and wood, but ultimately in ourselves. And here's the first exercise I gave them. Bullet points. Provide yourself with a magical journal or a pad of paper and a pencil or pen and put it beside your bed. 2. Just before going to bed tonight and for every night this week, read aloud the following prayer. Teach me, O Creator of all things, to have correct knowledge and understanding, for your wisdom is all that I desire. Speak your word in my ear, O Creator of all things, and set your wisdom in my heart. That's a prayer from John Dee. Next, then read aloud, just read aloud, the following call in the angelic language. Note, do not be afraid if this is the first time you've done anything like this. At first, the words will sound awkward and difficult to pronounce. Don't worry that you may not be pronouncing the words correctly. Angels, like the French, appreciate you making any attempt to speak their language. After a few tries, the words will start to sound familiar. Good. Repeat the call if you like until you become drowsy. Then, nighty-night. And I give them the call, the first Enochian call. That sort of triggers the whole thing. And I write it down like that. Now that is the pronunciation that is probably, at least in my opinion, what the intelligences that were dictating all of this for Dee and Kelly wanted them to try to sound out like that. Now, the Golden Dawn added a Hebrew vowel sound after each consonant in order to make it, in their opinion, more pronounceable. So instead of saying Ol son vorji gohu yad baltlansh kals vompa sobra zolror ita nazpsad greta, okay, which is probably close to the pronunciation that Dee and Kelly were trying. And the Golden Dawn, though, would pronounce like this. Ol sanuf vao rasaji gohu iyad balata elana saha ke elozad vampo sobra zore nore zodem. Okay, like that. Sounds Italian. So you're supposed to do that. This is the translation. But for the purpose of this exercise, pronounce the call in the angelic tongue, or your best try. I reign over you, saith the God of justice, in power, exalted above the firmaments of wrath, in whose hands the sun is as a sword, and the moon as a through-thrusting fire, which measureth your garments in the midst of my vestures, and trust you together as the palms of my hand, whose seats I garnish with the fire of gathering, and which beautified your garments with admiration. To them I made a law to govern the holy ones, and delivered you a rod with the ark of knowledge. Moreover, you lifted up your voices and swear obedience and faith unto him that liveth and triumpheth, whose beginning is not, nor end cannot be, which shineth as a flame in the midst of your palaces, and reigneth amongst you as the balance of righteousness and truth. Move, therefore, and show yourselves. Open the mysteries of your creation. Be friendly unto me, for I am the servant of the same your God, true worshipper of the highest. Hoath Yada. Next, drop comfortably asleep. Try, if possible, to be conscious of your dreams. Wake yourself if you can, and write down what you can remember. Finally, during the week, also note in your journal any thoughts or impressions you might have received during the week. Keep journaling your experiences with this class. Then I give them a course of reading. Enochian Vision Magic, beginning with page 22, and then other online readings, just mostly historic things concerning Dee and Kelly, and give them a discussion topic number 1, and this is the first one, so discussion topics are just really brief. Later on in the course, this part gets more complicated as people start to interact with each other. And here's the tasks. Starting next week, we will be building our Enochian temple equipment. To get a head start on that class, please make clean photocopies of the following figures from Enochian Vision Magic. Okay, and then there's notes. And that's just a little glimpse into my tenure at Maybe Logic Academy. And I guess it worked okay because I did all three, or I did two full sessions twice. And but anyway, that's that. Unfortunately, Maybe Logic Academy is not operating the way the way it used to. I don't know if any of these are still available. You can look them up. They still have an online presence. And perhaps now that I've unearthed all of this material, maybe I'll share more with you. I did one on the fundamentals of ceremonial magic, which was based sort of on my class series that I did for the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, which was an in-person class series, and then tarot. So anyway, that's it for today. That's it for the beginning of Beltane. Go out and erect yourself a maypole and dance giddily around it. Okay. Until tomorrow, be giddy. Continue to be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love and do well.